I will be walking you through the job transition helper. So basically, I put together this as I lost my job and realized there were so many parts, uh, things that had to get done in the process from one job to another, that I put together some worksheets for myself and realized that maybe this would be helpful for other people who've lost their job. So don't panic. We have you covered. It is natural to feel some anxiety with the loss of a job, whether voluntary or not. So take a deep breath, remind yourself that everything is going to work out and be okay. Now is the time to get focused on the next chapter of your life. The worksheets are meant to help you during your transition and remind you of what may need to get done during the process. So I wish you the best and believe that you will look back one day and be stronger and wiser person through all this. Best wishes. So this I'm going to make this available to you. So if you want me to email it to you, just send me your email. I'll leave my email address at the link below. Email me. I'll put the job transition helper in the subject line, and then I'll get you a copy of this. But we'll go through it. You can freeze the video and take notes. But if you actually want the worksheets that you can actually use, then just email me and we'll go from there. And also at the end, there's going to be a resource page. I haven't finished the resource page, so I will have it done by the time this video is uploaded. So when you send me your email, I'll get you that resource page that'll help you get started with places to help you replace or address some of your needs. Okay. So let's go to the contents here. So the contents, this is just an overview, but basically these are going to be the different subjects that we're going to be talking about, and most of these have some kind of worksheet attached to it. So let's get started. So we have the first thing here is retain important contacts. During as soon as you lose your job, you go through the frustration. What do I do? What I do? But there comes a point where you really need to sit down, gather your thoughts, and while it is fresh in your mind, write down all the coworkers, maybe clients that you really had good relationships with, their names, or just information, prospects that you were working with. Just write them down. You may have, maybe you signed a non-compete clause with your previous employer, and that's fine. That expires eventually. So you want to make sure you document as much as you can remember, and I'll have a worksheet for that to help you. Okay. You want to reflect. Turn your anxiety into reflection and creative energy. Start by asking yourself these questions and more. So here's just a couple examples, but the other worksheet that we'll show you will have a whole list of questions. So you want to update your resume. So I want to give you some tips to updating your resume. Now, if you may decide you want to hire somebody, you could do that. There's so many resources online too. But 5 best tips that I could find that helped me and I think will help you too. File your claim. So if you're filing for unemployment, you want to do this sooner than later, because if there's a delay, if they have questions, if you have to dispute things, it'll take longer. But before you do it, make sure you get your resume, because a lot of the unemployment claim agencies now will link you up with a online recruiter, and they're going to need your resume. So I would get that down first. Benefits overview. This will be a worksheet to help you remember all the benefits that you need to maybe replace that you had through work. Obviously off the top of your head, your health insurance, medical if you had that, and 401k. I mean, those are the obvious ones, but there's a lot of other ones that maybe you forgot about. So I put that on the list, and hopefully that'll help jog your memory. Know your budget. So I put together a worksheet to help you prioritize what needs to be paid in what order, and making sure your minimum payments are taken care of during this process. Skills, certifications needed. This is a worksheet just to help you kind of categorize and kind of just take a self-evaluation of, hey, these are my skills that I do have that um, I do well at. These are maybe skills that I want, and other skills that I need. So I'll show you that. Starting your own business. So should you consider starting your own business? There are so many resources out there, and there's so much opportunity to start your own business easily. But we're going to go over reasons why businesses fail. So things you consider before you jump in. Um, so we'll go over that too. Know thyself. Tips and resources to understand what your mind and body will be dealing with through this transition. So I have a worksheet with some information there that I hope is helpful. So we'll go through it. So when we talked about retaining contacts, so we're going to go to worksheet 1. So contacts. So this is just a basic spreadsheet. So name, phone number, email, notes. It's not rocket science, but what you want to make sure happens is you retain as much information as possible, that you remember, because this is something that'll come in handy later. 6 months down the line, whatever, a year down the line. If you have a non-compete, it might be a year before you can, or 2 years before you could ever reach out to these people. So, also for coworkers and people that you might want to use as a reference if you're looking for another job. You want to document while it's fresh on your brain. Before you forget people's names and last names and stuff like that. Then reflect. So turn your anxiety into reflection and creative energy. Start by asking yourself these questions. So here's a list of questions that I think will be very helpful to you. For instance, what did I like about my job? What did I dislike about my job? What did I do well in my job at a high level? What did I do poorly in my job? And why did I do poorly in those areas? It's really being on. The more honest you are with yourself, and you probably hear me say this a couple times throughout this, the more honest you are going to be with yourself, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to grow, and the more you're going to keep yourself from repeating the same problem. Check all the statements that apply. I needed more training. I had a poor manager. I was disengaged because I didn't feel valued. I lost interest in what I was doing. I wasn't paid enough. I felt micromanaged. I didn't get along with my manager. I didn't like the company I worked for. I was too distracted. So this is just to get the motor running. You may have other reasons. But the goal for this is to help you cut through the emotional part and take responsibility for your side, and also realize what didn't work from their side for you. Okay? And what would have made this job perfect for me? Maybe working less, maybe making more, maybe whatever. Take time to really think about that, because you want the next opportunity to be as close to this as possible. So, but you need to see it first. Don't just jump into another job just because it's got, and all of a sudden you have the same problems. Take the time to go through this, and it'll really help you qualify your next employer, or qualify yourself for maybe starting a business. So, this next tab is resume. Just these are my top 5 tips. I've researched a lot, and these I felt were most important to me, and I thought would be helpful to you. So, keeping your resume to 1 to 2 pages max. 2 pages, and only if necessary. So really try to keep it to 1 page, because recruiters spend about 6 seconds skimming through your resume before deciding to take a deeper look. So make sure it is in logical order and easy to read. There are many sample and templates online, so check those out. You want it to look right, so it doesn't look too distracting. It's simple, easy to read, easy to follow. Don't put your references on your resume. So you documented all your contacts. Another tab, right? You want to bring and this is something I learned too. You want to bring your references with you to the interview. You don't want to submit it with the resume. You want to keep the resume short and sweet. So avoid spelling and grammar errors. Really, you can review it as much as you want, but the most powerful thing is having somebody else read it. And, because a new set of eyes will uncover a new set of issues. So they'll see something you didn't see, and even though you read it 3, 4, 5 times. And also make sure it's professional. Ask their opinion. You want to make sure you write it simple and professional. Sometimes we accidentally write the way we talk to our friends or whoever, and it's fine to be yourself and talk. But when we're putting a resume together, you want to make sure it's professional as possible. So definitely have someone else read it and make suggestions too. Save form as PDF. This was one I never considered before, and it happens all the time. I never thought about this, so I just thought this was a really good tip. When you submit a Word resume, most resumes you might build it in Word, but you can save it in PDF if just by doing save as and then changing from Word to PDF. But because if you send it as Word, a lot of times they'll download it with a different program, and it'll just change all the formatting, and it'll make it look real messy. And even though they might understand that this because of a program, it's still going to be messy. So if you want it to be sent in the format that you intended and worked hard to put together, you want to make it a PDF, and that'll freeze it to look exactly the way you wanted it to look. All right, next tab, benefits. Here's a list of benefits. You got your common ones: medical, dental, vision. But life insurance, you might have life insurance through the company, and not, that stops. That stops immediately. You no longer have that life insurance. So are you going to go get it replaced? Your healthcare spending account. Maybe you had the gym membership paid by work, or book club, or legal services, pension plan. So you want to make sure immediately. Don't wait for their package. They might send you some package in a couple weeks. You immediately get on the phone with HR and you find out what are all the expiration dates of the services you have. Because if you got let go on the 15th of the month and you only have to the end of the same month to use the insurance that you have now, you better start booking those appointments. And if you wait 2 weeks, it's going to be too late. So this will help you remember all the things that you had that were tied through the company, and and if you need a research or replacement, you can use this as a kind of a note section. I'm finalizing my resource page, so it'll have a lot of places to start for you in these areas as well. So if you'll send me your email, I'll get that out to you. I'll get you the resource page, and for these areas, so this way you have somewhere to start.